Today's another WRAL weather alert day. We do have a few showers lingering. I'll let you know when the thunderstorms develop again.
Deadly tow truck crash. The driver in last week's Capitol Boulevard crash is due in court. A look at the lengthy list of charges he will face. And back to school. Durham Public Schools welcomes back its year-round students this morning. How this school year will come with some changes. A lot to catch you up on here on this Monday as we begin a new work week. Great to have you with us. I'm Renee Chu. Let's get to meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner, who is back from a little time off. Elizabeth, welcome back, and welcome back for a weather alert day.
Yes, and 3 more in a row because we have the potential for severe storms. We have a little bit of activity in our southern counties, Hope County, Cumberland County. See just a little bit of light scattered rain, and you can see a sprinkle elsewhere. But we'll have another round of thunderstorms that starts again during the afternoon. We have some pictures of lightning from last night that are really dramatic. This is from Goldsboro. Hunter Smith got this beautiful view of lightning. Of course, it is dangerous to be outside during lightning, so we encourage you to, make sure you're doing this maybe from inside, looking out your window. But that was a dramatic photo. Remember, anytime you have weather happening in your backyard, go to WRAL.com/report it, and we would love to see those photos. We have a lingering boundary here that continues to bring us those showers this morning, but most of that will taper off in the next couple of hours. But the storms redevelop right around or just after lunchtime. More scattered strong storms that could produce wind damage and the potential for some flooding. We'll talk about who has the best chance of flooding coming up. But look at this. It's a level 2 risk for the majority of our viewing area. And again, that means that we'll be watching out very closely for that potential for some wind damage later today. 30% this morning, so a couple of showers, a few sprinkles, but then we bounced into the upper to 60% or so as we get into the middle to latter part of the afternoon. It's a bit wet in Fayetteville as we just had a shower roll through there. 77 degrees with a dew point of 72. So very warm and sticky this morning, but not a hot afternoon. High temperatures will be in the upper 80s, which is a little bit below normal. We continue with that chance of rain and a weather alert day at least through Wednesday. We'll talk about the threats a bit more coming up. Renee?
Elizabeth, thank you. So please stay weather aware today. Stay connected with the WRAL weather app. You can track the heat, thunderstorms, and air quality in real time. And you'll get important alerts right to your phone. Just make sure your notifications are turned on. There was a large EMS and fire response to a pharmaceutical plant in Clayton this morning. The WRAL Breaking News Tracker was at the Grifols plant on US 70 Business around 1:30 this morning. There were ambulances on scene. We are working to learn what happened and whether anyone was hurt. The tow truck driver charged with drunk driving after a deadly crash on Capitol Boulevard in Raleigh will be in court today. WRAL's Adley Calabar joins us live from the Wake County Justice Center right now. Allie, this tow truck driver has a history of DWIs.
Yeah, this is Alan Guerrero's. It is his 4th DWI charge. Now he's also facing aggravated felony death by vehicle in addition to other charges. And take a look at this picture here. This is 39-year-old Guerrero's mugshot. Police say he made a U-turn against a red light, crashing into 2 motorcycles and another car on Capitol Boulevard early Friday morning. Chandler Hodge died while riding his motorcycle. Friday marked his 35th birthday. 3 other people were also seriously injured. Guerrero had 3 prior drunk driving convictions, including one just last year. He currently has a suspended license due to previous DWI charges, and he is being held at the Wake County Jail on 2 separate secured bonds totaling $500,000. He will appear in court at 1:30 this afternoon. WRAL will be there. Reporting live in Raleigh, Allie Calabar, WRAL News.
We'll get new data today about the number of cyclospora infections in Wake County. And there are more questions about the source of the outbreak. The FDA says a sample from a lettuce supplier that initially tested positive for the parasite was a false positive. The agency says it discovered the false positive when they rechecked the results of the sample from Taylor Fresh Foods. The company voluntarily recalled its iceberg lettuce from Mexico out of caution. So far, there have been 307 cyclospora cases reported in North Carolina. 270 of them are in Wake County. With the source still unclear, some people headed to the state farmers market instead of the supermarket for their produce. Although the levels of contamination may be lower, shoppers tell us there's still a level of caution in the air.
It makes me nervous. I feel like I keep hearing different pieces of information about how dangerous or where it's coming from.
Health officials say it can be hard to narrow down the exact source of the outbreak. The CDC is advising people to not eat any recalled produce. If you do have it in your kitchen, throw it out. Count on WRAL to keep you updated on everything your family needs to know about cyclospora. Hear from local people who experience the illness firsthand and find in-depth discussions on what to look for so that you don't get sick. That is all on the WRAL YouTube page. And watch our evening news starting at 4 p.m. for new details about the number of cases in our area and any new information from health officials. Overnight, the U.S. launched another series of retaliatory strikes on Iran. This comes as a third U.S. service member has died in connection with the war. U.S. Central Command says the service member died in northern Iraq during a controlled detonation of a piece of equipment from a downed Iranian attack drone. It also said it has located unidentified remains in Jordan, where a separate Iranian attack left 2 U.S. troops dead and 1 missing in action. The mounting death toll has effectively ended the interim ceasefire between the U.S. and Iran, what the U.S.-Iran negotiated last month. Since then, both sides have targeted civilian infrastructure relied on by millions of people. Shipping traffic in the Strait of Hormuz has also largely stalled. Gas prices continue to rise amid the action in Iran. Nationally, AAA reports regular gas costs $4 on average. In North Carolina, it is at $3.68 a gallon. That is up 9 cents from a week ago. And here in Raleigh, gas is up 7 cents from last week to averaging $3.68 a gallon. Raleigh police are looking for a driver who hit and killed a woman on I-40. Police say it happened just after midnight yesterday morning on I-40 East near South Saunders Street. The woman was identified as 33-year-old Gina Shively. Police say she was in the road near the South Saunders Street interchange when she was hit. The driver did not remain on scene. Vance County deputies are looking for the suspect in a deadly shooting. This happened just before 2:30 yesterday morning on South Clearview Drive in Henderson. 38-year-old Thelonis Perry died at the scene. The State Bureau of Investigation is helping. Anyone with information is asked to call Henderson Vance Crime Stoppers. Today, family and friends will lay to rest Nolan Wells. A funeral service is planned for the 18-year-old who died after visiting an island with friends in Mississippi over the July 4th holiday. Wells was found dead 2 days later after he disappeared off the coast. A woman says the area where his body was found was the same area where she had anchored her boat. She said the water around the island was choppy, and that area in particular was known for rougher water. Wells's parents, who have questioned the circumstances surrounding their son's death, have launched their own investigation. Defaulting on debt. Nearly 300,000 North Carolina college students are underwater on their student loans. A look at how that number doubled in the past year alone. World champions. Spain is celebrating its second World Cup win. A look at the excitement from the big game and reaction here at home.
And today's another WRAL weather alert day. We have a good chance for storms that could produce some wind damage. I'll walk you through the timeline coming up. 4:42, another WRAL weather alert day, not just today, but tomorrow and Wednesday as well. All 3 days, we have a level 2 risk for severe storms, which indicates the storms could produce some wind damage. But we also have a flooding threat as well. We're going to see some heavy downpours with these storms. We still have a little bit of rain left over down in Hope County and in Cumberland County, a couple of sprinkles elsewhere. But for the most part, last night's storms are dying off. We still have this stationary boundary that's sitting over North Carolina, and that will be the focus for more storms again today. So our chance of rain dropping off at this point. It should be relatively dry through the morning commute. There may be a few sprinkles or light showers, but then thunderstorms will develop again after lunchtime. So walking the dog this morning, the biggest thing is going to be it's really warm and muggy with temperatures in the mid 70s, but with a good chance for storms this afternoon. We're going to keep those temperatures down in the upper 80s. Coming up, we'll talk more about how much rain we could see with that flooding potential. Renee?
Elizabeth, thank you. In just a few hours, Durham Public Schools will welcome back its year-round students. WRAL's Elizabeth Holmes is at Easley Elementary School in Durham. Elizabeth, the first day of this new school year coming with some changes.
Renee, that's right. Roughly 4,000 students are expected to be back in the classroom today. They'll be the first of nearly 30,000 to start school this year in the district. Now compare that to roughly 40,000 students set to start just year-round school in Wake County in just a few weeks. Now you mentioned those changes. The district is actively monitoring cyclosporiasis cases. As of Wednesday, there were 21 confirmed cases in the county. And so now the district is removing all fresh produce until September. They'll be using canned and frozen fruits and vegetables. And we talked with pediatricians about why it's so important that kids be protected from the virus, especially now that they're back in the classroom.
We do see things like salmonella and norovirus and food poisoning that happen year round, right? Well, the biggest thing to note about cyclospora is that it's not contagious. So kids shouldn't be any more impacted during their school day.
Expected to hear directly from the superintendent later this morning. In Durham, I'm Elizabeth Holmes, WRAL News.
New this morning, nearly 300,000 North Carolinians now find themselves in default on their federal student loans. That's according to a new analysis by the Associated Press. It shows those borrowers collectively owe $7.8 billion in federal student loans. It is nearly double the people who were in default just a year ago. Nationally, the number of borrowers in default has soared since pauses on loan repayments during the COVID-19 pandemic. We have a lot more information on what this problem looks like in North Carolina in the education section of WRAL.com. 9 people are critically injured after a mass shooting in downtown Tucson, Arizona. This happened early yesterday morning. Police say the shooter was running away as officers arrived. They say he was given multiple commands before an officer shot him. The suspect was taken to the hospital with life-threatening injuries. Police are now looking for people who may have video of the scene. 2 people are dead. 7 others are hurt after a shooting in Asheville. This happened near Biltmore Avenue yesterday morning. Investigators believe the shooting may have stemmed from an earlier shooting. The conditions of the 7 people who were hurt have not been released. Vice President J.D. Vance and his wife Usha have welcomed their 4th child. The baby's name is Alex Neil Vance. The vice president says the second lady and the baby are happy and healthy. He also thanked the medical staff at Walter Reed Medical Center and the White House Medical Unit. This is the first time a second lady has had a baby while in office since 1870. This morning, Spain is celebrating its 2nd World Cup win. Ferran Torres' goal in the 106th minute gave Spain a 1-0 win over defending champions Argentina in yesterday's final. Spain previously won the World Cup back in 2010. Their win denied Lionel Messi a title in what may have been his final World Cup. World Cup fever was at a high pitch here in the Triangle. Fans packed watch parties all across our area. Soccer fans at Sports and Social in Cary were there for every high and low of the World Cup final. When it was all over, Spain's supporters left with smiles on their faces. Fans said sharing the moment with hundreds of other supporters made it feel like a little piece of the World Cup was here in the Triangle.
Our friend is actually from Spain. I'm from Iraq, from Baghdad. But he had to leave to see his family in España. So we told him we have him here. We got him here. So we came with full gear. And Viva España!
Coming up in the next half hour in What's Trending, we will take a look at the FIFA World Cup Finals' first ever halftime show. What a July it's been with all that World Cup action. I know a lot of soccer fans will be going through withdrawal today. Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner is in the WRAL Severe Weather Center, something we've also seen a lot in this July. A chance for severe weather, and that is the case once again today.
It is this afternoon. Once again, we have the chance for some wind damage. We did have a few wind damage reports yesterday. We'll take a look at those in just a little bit. They were mainly in our northern counties. Anytime after lunchtime, we'll start to see the storms developing again. It's the usual pattern. It's a warm and muggy to start with this morning, a couple sprinkles out there. But in the afternoon and evening, that's when the storms will be strongest, and we could see some wind damage and also some flooding. This is a very juicy, very moist air mass. So as those storms develop this afternoon, they have the potential for some heavy downpours. We still have some showers down here across parts of Hope County, Cumberland County, a couple of sprinkles just south of Raleigh, especially right there where I-95 and I-40 come together. I wouldn't expect to see much rain out there this morning, but it is a little damp in some places, and it's definitely very warm and sticky. Notice there at 10 a.m., Futurecast fires up just a tiny little shower. That shouldn't be anything that has a big impact. But once we get to 1 to 2 o'clock in the afternoon, here come the storms, and we'll see those on and off through the afternoon and into the evening. Notice how it continues there at 7 o'clock, and some of it gets a little bit more intense right around dinner time before it tapers off after midnight. It is a level 2 risk for severe storms, and again, level 2, just one up from level 1. But what that means is that we'll have scattered storms that could produce some wind damage. We did have some wind damage reports yesterday up near the Virginia line. It's not terribly wet out there, no major impacts for the morning commute. Still just some wet conditions there in Fayetteville, where a shower rolled through just about an hour or so ago. 77 is our temperature in the Triangle, and 72 is the dew point. So it's a very warm and sticky start. Our normal high this time of year is 91. That's as high as it gets. And fortunately, we don't see any really intense or extreme heat this week. 88 today, 93 tomorrow, 90 Wednesday, and then back into the 80s on Thursday and Friday. But of course, a big reason for the cooler temperatures is that chance for rain. So not only are we looking at a chance Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, but we really continue that on Thursday and Friday as well. Right now, neither one of these days are weather alert days, but we'll be watching to see if that will be necessary. It does look like it dries out a little bit more for the weekend, and high temperatures remain in the 80s, which looks really good. We have a tropical system that's developing down in the Gulf of Mexico. We're going to take a closer look at where that's headed in just a little bit. Renee?
Elizabeth, thank you. 4:50 now, the future of football. Congress is set to debate a bill that would make sweeping changes to the college football landscape. Why some college leaders are pushing for federal action and why others are not totally on board. And box office smash. Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey sets a new record for his career. How one of his past films helped to pave the way for this newest blockbuster. College football season kicks off in less than 6 weeks, but the future of college sports could be decided before that in Congress. The Protect College Sports Act is making its way through the U.S. Senate. The comprehensive bill would impact everything from eligibility and the transfer portal to agent fees for name, image, and likeness deals and conference realignment. Some college leaders have been pushing for federal action for years. They say it would help stabilize a situation that many think has gotten out of control.
We are truthfully working as hard as we can to make this thing work, because I don't know how much more disrupted college sports could be, but we would enter that ecosystem if we can't get something done.
The bill has support from the chancellors of NC State, UNC, and ECU, but not everyone is on board. The leaders of the Big Ten and SEC have been opposed. They are pushing for changes to the bill. Christopher Nolan's newest film is dominating box offices. David Daniel has that and more in today's Hollywood Minute.
You're a man who needs to control his fate.
The Odyssey writer-director Christopher Nolan says his Oscar-winning blockbuster Oppenheimer paved the way for his new film.
Coming out of Oppenheimer, which was a much bigger success than we'd ever hoped for, and you know, obviously that was thrilling and is its own reward, but it also presents you with an opportunity. You know, when something like that works, it means you've kind of bought yourself the opportunity to make something you wouldn't be able to make otherwise.
The Odyssey opened with an estimated $264 million worldwide, the biggest global debut of Nolan's career.
New York on Sunday, big cities taking a nap.
Laura Anglade gives a more relaxed vibe to the city that doesn't sleep with Sunday in New York. The award-winning jazz performer's take on the 1963 classic is from her new album, Something's Coming, due out November 13th. In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
The Television Academy is revamping the Emmys by presenting fewer trophies during the live telecast. Variety reports only 19 awards will be handed out during this year's broadcast. Some of the categories that got cut for TV include honors for supporting actor and actress, directing, and writing in a limited series or movie. Some labor units say the changes devalue employee contributions. The Emmys air on September 14th on WRAL. Tomorrow night's Mega Millions jackpot will be worth an estimated $707 million. Nobody won the jackpot Friday night. Tomorrow's jackpot will be the 10th largest prize in the game's history. You can watch tomorrow night's drawing right before WRAL News at 11 p.m. 4:56 now, deadly tow truck crash. The driver in last week's Capitol Boulevard crash is due in court. A look at the driver's history. And schools back in session. Durham Public Schools welcomes back year-round students today. A look at changes in store for them this year.